Peace. Welcome to my 11-month and 28-day check-in with No Nicotine. And today's video, I'm going to be discussing why would one quit nicotine and what for. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. On my channel, I have documented my journey of quitting nicotine. And on my channel, I have a lot of information as well as anything, inspiration as well as motivation for people who are perhaps struggling with anything when it comes to mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And let's get right into why one would quit nicotine. So mentally, one would do this because they'd mentally want to benefit their mental health, whether it be for them to stop relying on nicotine as a mental crutch and as a way of being mentally stable and or mentally stress-free, because that vice will be there for them. And if you've already exhausted yourself mentally and it's been an extended amount of time and you're ready to, let's say move on, well, mentally, one would move on and quit nicotine to benefit their mental health, to benefit, increasing the strength or, let's say, stability of their mental state of being by deciding to cease to use nicotine. So mentally, one would quit nicotine to mentally detach from nicotine, to have much better experience when it comes to mentally, and to, like I said, not be dependent on anything when it comes to mentally, and to, like I said, also help their mental health, and to be able to not be so reliant on a addictive substance to exist mentally, to use your thoughts, to exist at a stable way when it comes to mentally. That's definitely what I think about, and what I know from my experience is that mentally, a lot has benefited once I did stop using mentally, and I think that I can credit to that mental sense of freedom that I've gained once I stopped using. And it's almost been 365 days, almost been a full year since I quit nicotine, and I can just say that I don't regret my mistakes at all, and that has a partial influence on that is the fact that mentally I'm able to exist in a better state of mind mentally. And so I don't regret making that decision, because I'm experiencing good experiences, especially when it comes to, like I said, mentally. I'm able to have a mental state of mind, mental state of mind that is at least stable and that is not reliant, like I said, on something else for fulfillment, and to even be mentally stimulated. That's why I think one would choose and strive to quit when it comes to mentally, really just to preserve their mental state of being for future to come. Like I always say, like I've said in other videos, you gotta be thinking about this stuff. Like you gotta know, okay, what are the reasons for what I can think about should be a reason to, stay on this journey and not just decide to go back to my actions, is because, well, think about it this way: you're preserving your states of being and you're preserving you at the end of the day. And think about it like this. You'll live longer. And if you ever think that you have, the littlest to most of desire to do it again, then hey, that's up to you, but that's down the road. You don't have to do that right now. So that's the thing that I can say is, mentally, you'll have peace of mind longer. You won't be so addicted to something. You'll be able to detach that mental state of being to your own mental state of being, where it's not having such influence on it, like when it comes to what nicotine and what other substances can do once they have you in a cycle of addiction and of addictive use and repetitive use, that is. So mentally it can be there in a way where the user wants to detach from it, and I'm telling you right now, then that's the right way to do it. And if you're thinking that way, like I said, it's always up to the person. But mentally, you're preserving your state of mind and being able to have a stronger mind down the road. And also throughout the time, you'll realize that you will be creating new thought forms. You'll be creating new mental state of beings, new mental forms that you will now exist in and now experience more experiences through that lens when it comes to mentally, and that will have no influence by nicotine. And hear me out, it will have no influence. And if you don't think that's true, then listen to all my other videos where I've explained that it has no influence over, let's say, the mental state of being and the other state of beings. But that just goes to show how powerful it can be going without, and perhaps implementing moderation. But that's only if one is willing to accept what comes with that. What comes with that cyclical use? What comes with that? And what are you signing up for, to where you're like, all right, I'm willing to sign this under these certain terms and conditions. Is that something that you want to back and support? Is that something that you want to agree with, or aka you want to sign that document? Otherwise, consistently stay on that path of getting better, being a better version of you that you've always been, always about striving to grow. And mentally, one would definitely stop being so addicted to, let's say, a substance like nicotine, in order to, like I said, just really take care of the mental health and ensure that longevity that people that want to experience will experience and will strive to experience. So that will keep that for sure. And physically, why would one, let's say, quit nicotine or quit an addictive substance? Well, physically, we know that's to experience more time in this physical world. If you're always out, doing things that are harming your body rather than things, and then you look at it, what percentage scale do you do things that are actually good for your health and that are, making your health and putting your health in a better place than it was once before. So think about it like that, and you'll realize that the substance that you use is normally, let's say, if it's having negative effects, let's say, you'll realize that by cutting that out, you will perhaps realize the amount of benefits you are actually getting from your actions. Because like I said, I've been on this journey for 364, almost a full 365 days, which will be a year soon. And the whole journey, I've been able to tell that I'm physically being in a better state of being. I'm physically healing ever since the absolute second that I stopped using. So that's inspiring. It was inspiring to me, like I've said in previous uh, talks, I've said that the discipline that you have to apply to yourself is one thing that continues to be inspirational throughout the journey. And I'm telling you that you'll notice, okay, you can breathe better. You'll notice all these things about your physical health. Okay, I can sleep a lot better now. You'll notice a lot of things about your physical state of being that will change once you make that decision. Okay, now physically, I don't need as much stimulation. I don't need as much moment-to-moment satisfaction, and I can actually delay that satisfaction and delay gratification to a later time because I'm more physically responsible, and or I'm physically strong enough to go certain times without needing something, certain times without being, like I said previously, physically dependent on something. I can actually detach from that, and so one would physically stop using to benefit their physical health, and like I said, longevity down the road. Trust, you know the truth, and that truth is that you want to be able to exist as long as you possibly can. And of course, there's times where people at least might joke or might say something, but you know what they really mean. They're really just expressing all that passion. Just shows that they truly are in love and are enjoying some part of the experience. So you can't say that, oh, actually, no, it's not worth it. I just want to abuse the vessel that I'm in and die as soon as possible. But that's the farthest end of the spectrum, and surely there's always a percentage scale. There's always going to be, like I've said before, outliers, and there's always going to be opposite ends of a scale. And when it comes to physically, you're going to be able to not have to stress, not have to worry about any, let's say, physical conditions that might be put into your reality when it comes to the actions and results of, let's say, an addictive substance or continuous use of something. Physically put yourself on the journey and physically start right now and go without it, and see how long you can go, see how long you can build up that physical strength. And no matter what, you continue to build that strength and take care of yourself when it comes to the physical state of being, because like I said, it's a gift. And don't look at it like a curse, look at it like a gift when it comes to that physical state of being, when it comes to everything that we talk about. You gotta say, you know what, at the same time, something can be a gift, and at the same time, something can be a curse. You gotta see both perspectives and see both sides of that to be able to help guide yourself, through the physical existence and the reality that we are in. Let's talk about emotionally. Why would one, be cautious and or, let's say, change their actions, go without a substance? In my case, it's nicotine, which I think can have a great impact on the emotional state of being because it's such a strong substance, and you don't want to get your emotional state of being attached to that, even though you most likely are if you're in repetitive use. But I'm telling you right now, if you are, don't get worried, don't have that anxiety, don't have those guilty feelings, those guilty things. Everyone does what they do, and it's about each individual to be able to balance their emotional state of being and not have it trek on them and or in turn trek on the others that they're around. So really each person has to know, emotionally, is this the right thing for me? I think someone would quit nicotine to emotionally be free from that dependency that they've built towards the substance. So I can see that on my path, emotionally, I was, let's say we can call it, vibing low, whatever you want to call it, prior to quitting. And that's because I knew that things were not right. I was not satisfied. I was not actually experiencing, the right state of being when it comes to physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. So emotionally, I was really hard on myself, and I realized, and it had taken some time for me to realize, like, why are you so hard on yourself? Does it have to be because you're experiencing emotions from your destructive and or repetitive, non-useful, but quite impulsive actions that you've been taking over the last, let's say, because I did nicotine for around 5.5 years. So during that time, were you actually taking on burdens that actually you didn't want to experience? So that's one thing that pointed me to, hey, I know as soon as I quit that emotionally I'm going to be more stable, because that's just what I felt. I felt that, and that's something that I knew even before the time of my use. I knew that you'll feel better when you're sober. Of course you feel better when you're actually in your own state of being when it comes to mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And when you're the one being that creator, when you're the one actually living that life through your own experience. So definitely emotionally, someone would, quit using such harmful substances to emotionally ensure that, hey, you can exist in a positive state of being, even when things are down, even when things necessarily aren't feeling possibly the greatest. Hey, but you built up that strength to where you're not so resistant, or you're really resistant, but that resistance that you have to anything that's bad going on, that resistance that you have is building you to be more emotionally strong at the end of the day, and you'll be able to go on that path like I've done year, but I've been making videos to help people that were in the same position. So emotionally, that's something that I think you'll find other things, other tasks, once you stop being so emotionally dependent on that substance. You'll find other tasks that will emotionally stimulate you, emotionally have you in that right state of being. Yeah, listen to your intuition on this one for sure. All right, last but not least, let's talk about spiritually. Why would one, quit nicotine in this case? But let's talk about substances as a whole, because I like to go a little bit more broad than just my specific niche per se. Spiritually, if you're feeling kind of lost, or you're feeling stagnant, docile, not really sure what your purpose and or reason here is, then at the end of the day, I'd suggest to spiritually do a cleansing of getting rid of, and do a conscious cleansing and getting rid of all that baggage that you've had, that you've taken on this journey and this experience. And that could be a spiritual, reset. It could be spiritually taking you back to your roots, taking you back to your origin spiritually, and tapping you into that spiritual state of being that is always with you, and that you've always had for, throughout all of time. And spiritually connecting with that is a very strong experience, and that's really what I know this journey is to be, is a spiritual experience. And if you're actually, going and striving to live in a more, let's say, tapped in or more experiential existence, I say that you should spiritually go on a path of finding out what it truly is your reason, finding out truly what is your purpose, finding out these things. And if you have to, stop using a substance just to do that, then have at it. Let me tell you, as I know that this is a process, of going through, this process is very strong, and it can invoke you to gain a lot of spiritual wisdom, a lot of spiritual knowledge from simply going without. And I know for sure I'm going to implement this anytime I change an action, and anytime that I do, I'm going to see every side to it, and I'm going to be able to see that perspective when it comes to spiritually. I'm going to be able to see the perspective out of that when it comes to spiritually. I'm going to be able to see the higher perspective when it comes out of that mentally, when it comes out of it physically and emotionally. I'm going to be able to continuously go through that experience. And that comes down to spiritually having that knowing, and just knowing that you're powerful when you are being true to yourself. That's definitely something that has been learned, and I think one would spiritually go without a substance is to start a new chapter of your life, start a new era, put yourself and push yourself into a new spiritual plane of existence and a new spiritual state of being. That's what is really important for you guys to understand, is to always, be strong regardless of what you're going through. And I appreciate everyone who got to this point in the video. Show some support. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll be coming back with a 11-month and 29, and then an 11-month and 30, and or the just 1 year check-in with No Nicotine. And yeah, anyone out there on their journey, anyone who needs support when it comes to mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, know that you can be that for yourself. And once you're that for yourself, you will be able to manifest the right people in your existence and the right reality for whatever it may be, whatever your goals are to achieve. You'll be able to push that forward at the core of that goal, and the really core of that mission. So that's what it's all about. This is why I believe, and why, let's not say believe, but why I know one would strive to quit nicotine, and let's say go without any substance that's per se holding them back. And if you guys found this helpful, like I said, show some support. I'm going to continue doing this, going to continue sharing my states of being when it comes to teaching, and also on my end of it, learning the most that I can out of the life, the most that I can out of these experiences, to then be able to come and share the knowledge and wisdom gained from the experience, and to be able to share the experience as well, so that someone out there that's going through something similar can relate to. All right, and that's what it's all about. That's what the mission's all about, is making the world a better place and changing the world that we live in. And everyone has their own part, and being able to figure out what that is something that is very important, something that is very sacred to oneself. And so stay protected no matter what. Don't let anyone play about you when it comes to mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Stay protected. That's it.